Welcome to the Coffee Experts Club. If you're at all interested in anything we talk about in this episode, go ahead and check out the description down below, or if you even just want to know more about us, click on the links below. Now on to the episode.
Coffee Experts Club. What is going on, Ben Club?
I think it cut right in front of the woo, so it's just a hey.
Man, well, Coffee Experts, you missed out on my whoop that Ben got to partake in. So, Ben, how's the day, man?
Good. It's another fine. It's 102 right now. I was looking at next week. We're gonna hit 106 next week.
Yeah, I'll never forget, Ben. One time driving back from my dad's house in Montana, I stopped by. We always would drive through, Tri-Cities because I love Tri-Cities. I wanted to eat from the best taco cart west of the Mississippi. What's it called, Ben? Taco Uno.
Taco Super Uno.
Yeah, Taco Super Uno. And we've talked about this on the show before, but like, I'm such a nostalgic dude, right? And Ben's like, that's the worst tacos. They don't even have good tacos there. But I'm like, no, dude, it was right across the street from Brazilian all those years of where the beans were being roasted and we were serving it at like roasters, like elite.
Mm-hmm.
It was right across the street. We'd always do all of our meetings there, Brazilian, and walk across the street and get tacos. So it's just like nostalgia, dude. It's like coming home. I just love stopping by there and having tacos. Anyway, I remember one time driving back from Montana, coming through Tri-Cities, and I had my dogs in the back, right?
Oh, God.
In their dog boxes, right? But it was like, I'm watching the temperatures climb, and I'm like, I am the worst dog owner. It was like over 100. I'm like, we can't keep them back there. This is wrong.
No way.
And I had 4 little kids and my bride in a 2 bench seat pickup, right? Like it was a right. So I had to bring my huge black lab in, it weighed like 140 pounds, which today was a lab Rottweiler mix, right? So it's just big and broad and and my little wiener dog, and I had to make it work in the cab with all 6 of us, which was just fiasco. So long story short, Tri-Cities gets hot, man. It gets hot.
And everybody's going, why the hell are we stopping for tacos? It's 100 degrees outside.
You got to do what you got to do, Ben. But I will say, I remember times, and maybe those of you who have coffee shops, that are listening. By the way, if you don't have a coffee shop, you're thinking about dreaming up a coffee shop, this is the place to come. Coffee Experts Club is where we talk about how to get into your first drive-through coffee. And then if you have coffee shops, what could be some of the best practices? What could be some of the best things you could do having your own coffee shop? So anyway, if you have coffee shops in the Tri-Cities, I know probably Arizona deals with this too. I remember it was hard to even get the air conditioning units to keep up on some of those things because it's not only the heat outside, but it's all the machine heat that's putting it off on the inside. That's when it gets crazy. And Ben, didn't you guys have some kind of like threshold of if it gets up and over this temp inside the stand, we have to close?
Yeah, it was like if it's pushing 90 in the stand, you close. Which we set that as a rule because it happened.
90, bro. 90. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. If it gets over 90 degrees inside the stand you're working in, yeah, you're gonna have to close.
Yeah, quick pro tip: if you're opening a coffee shop where the summers get to 100 degrees, make sure if you're building, you put that ice machine condenser outside on the roof.
Yes,
have that condenser inside, and you're gonna destroy your baristas.
Dude, it was cool. We learned that at, I think it was shop number 14.
Yeah.
So, I learned about that towards the end.
100-degree heat and the ice machine's just blowing hot air on you. That just sucks.
Man, Ben, all the fun we had in the Roasters days. Hey, anyway, last week we had on a great guest. If you missed it, you want to make sure you go back and check it out. Melissa Cardenas from Lifeline Coffee in Tri-Cities. What an amazing gal, man. Then so like freaking humble. Like this girl's all, yeah, I got my nursing degree. Yeah, I was a nurse and decided to kick off a coffee shop. Yeah, we're opening up our 6th store this year in like 8 years. So like that's just like a baller, and yet like didn't like not a like shred of ego. Like just so humble. What did you think of that, Ben?
She was talking about that, and the whole time I was just thinking, man, what have I done lately?
Oh, well, you've been having kids. You've had 2 kids. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you've been doing lately. Did you traded it up?
But just listening to that, I was like an ego check on myself because like that was so impressive. Like nursing is one thing, and then on top of that, so she's nursing during COVID.
Right.
Like everybody knows that was hell for nurses. But then to also be like, yeah, I'm also running a separate business during one of the crappiest times in U.S. history to own your own business, let alone be like trying to get one off the ground while also you're in the COVID unit at the hospitals. I was just like, dang, this
girl's
wild.
a beast. She was a beast. Anyway, a couple of things that stood out to me, Ben, that maybe we'll talk about on a future show, but I want to at least highlight and give her some props for today. I thought that she had a great way of really rising and taking what roasters had before they sold about being hometown hero. Right. Like I think
Hmm.
we talk about it a lot on the show, but I think that the niche that an indie can have in any economy, in any town is make yourself unique, man, and be a hometown hero. Like play to the crowd that you're serving. And I think she's done a great job of that with serving Latin based drinks because a lot of her places that she's placed her coffee shops are in Latin communities. You want to talk about that just for a second?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, Tri-Cities is a huge population, Latin population, and all it takes is one person to go, hey, you know what? I think there's a big portion of the population that's also growing that I'm noticing isn't getting served the best that they could be served. I mean, and that's what we did as roasters is we identified that, hey, there's no indie coffee here that actually does a good job.
Yep.
There's nobody here that's doing coffee like fast.
Yep.
There's nobody here serving quality espresso. And I think she took that model and she said, hey, you know what? There's nobody that's making drinks skewed this way. Nobody's making a good horchata. And if they have horchata, they're probably just selling it bottled from somewhere else. Nobody's making it themselves and making it to an old school recipe that your grandma would make if you were in this community. So she realized that portion is underserved. She rose to the occasion, and I think we know her coffee roaster, and he says all the time that she's one of his fastest growing accounts. Like she's quickly becoming the hometown hero. And when we say hometown hero, it doesn't mean that like your entire city has to go to just you, and you're the only coffee shop. No, it's specific portions of your city, your niche. There's plenty of coffee customers to go around, but are you taking your niche, your demographic? We talked about, Bentley's with the way that he served pet owners.
Yep.
Are all of the pet owners your customers? That makes you a hometown hero. Are all of the Latin community in your city your customers? That makes you a hometown hero to them.
Yep. 100%. I think that if you're starting a coffee company, don't just try and be another Dutch Bros. Don't just try and be another whatever is the big brand in your area. Maybe you came out of one of the BlackRock. Maybe you came out of a Human Being. Maybe you came out of another indie, and you're like, I'm just going to go and do it better, quote unquote. The worst thing you can do is fall into one of their shadows and just be considered as another one of them. Like, what makes your coffee shop unique? And for Melissa, it was Latin-based heritage. She's got that in her family. Let's really capitalize on that. Let's really lean into that. And let's really realize the community that we're in. And it's like sending out a homing beacon for everybody that you're trying to niche down on, saying, hey, we see you, and this is the place you come to.
Mm-hmm.
If that's your demographic. So that's number one. Number two, Ben, I thought she kicked ass at symbiotic relationship, like finding somebody that you could parallel in business as you grow and be a partner with, the same way Wes did back in the day with Tim Bush. Tim Bush was a drive-through car washes, but Wes connected with him early on. I think that was a godsend and a gift. I think it really contributed to a lot of Wes's growth strategy and success, is that when he went to build, he was building with a partner that was already got it. Didn't have to win him over. Didn't have to explain it every time. This is just a partner in business that as Tim Bush opened, Wes opened. And I think that was incredible. Melissa talked about the gas stations that she partners with. You want to talk about that just for?
Yeah, it's genius. There's nothing more difficult than when you're wanting to own or open your own coffee shop and actually build and having to find a location. Is this a good location? What if it's not a good location? What if everything goes wrong? What if instead you partner with somebody who has a proven track record? With roasters, it was car washes. Car washes, you put a car wash down, there will always be cars. Okay, we know that's got a proven track record of having customers. We're guaranteed some of those customers if we open up right next to it. Melissa, the same way. You put a gas station down, that gas station is guaranteed to have cars at it. So if I can partner with somebody who's got guaranteed traffic for me, and I'm going to bring them traffic as well, it's a win-win situation. And to have somebody pop into her atmosphere like that out of the blue is just so, it's a godsend. That is one of those decisions that you look back on 5 years later and you go, that's a pivotal moment in my business. That's where I went from one location to six. And
so crazy.
from going from, kind of trying to keep this alive to this person saying, hey, let's go. Right?
Because they're pushing you. That's the other part. I remember Tim Bush would bring deals to Wes, and I remember we would sit around as a leadership team and Wes was like, should we do this though? Is this the right time? And it was somebody that was pushing you, not just an internal pushing, right? You have to have that as a business owner where you're pushing on your own, but it's so nice when you have somebody else that's like, come on, let's go. Come on, let's rally. Come on, could you stretch and get there? Could you just, and I think when you have that's a continual pusher, it's nice because it's like you're each one of you are rallying off each other. And let me tell you what, Roasters benefited Tim Bush as much as Tim Bush benefited Roasters. It was
Oh, for sure.
every car that comes through to get their coffee in the morning on the way to work is like, no, I do need a car wash. No, let's just pop over there real fast, right? And he was stripping cars off of us, just like we were stripping cars off of him. It was a good symbiotic relationship. Look for that. If you're thinking about starting a coffee shop, is there a business that you could like partner with? Is there somebody that you see is growing in your town that you're like, I think coffee could be a good complement to what they're doing, and there could be good symbiotic energy that happens between us. We were looking at down in Belize a car dealership, like somebody that actually sells
Yeah.
because their ideal avatar is somebody that's going to come and sit for a while. Our ideal avatar is somebody that's going to come and go quickly, right? But they're looking for as many eyeballs as possible, like to
Hmm.
eyes on their cars. And so we started talking to them about, do you have enough parking lot space that you could actually give us enough room to squeeze a stand in there, where it's only going to benefit them to have a line of cars looking at their
Yep.
automobiles while they're waiting in line, right? And for us, like, how many times have you gone to buy a car and you're like, dear God, could this process go any longer? I just need a cup of coffee. Let me just walk over and grab a cup of coffee from the coffee shop real quick while you finish up my paperwork. And it was just like a good symbiotic. So I think through who's somebody in your town that maybe has some parking lot space, that maybe has a good growth model that you could just
Hmm.
be up on, that maybe would help you with some of your hard costs in running like infrastructure to the spot you want to drop the stand. And then your only cost is dropping a stand on that spot. They may even be willing to do a build to suit for the sake of you being able to get in there on the cheap. So I think
Hmm.
thinking through symbiotic relationships, super smart. What a smart lady to think about partnering up with those gas stations. Third thing, Ben, and I'd like to lean on this with you for the rest of our show today. And this, brace yourselves for an idea that may not be the most popular idea you've ever heard, but one that I think, and I'm going to tell a story about my first business venture that I think that this philosophy really could have helped. And that was, are you starting a coffee shop just to give yourself a new job? And is
Hmm.
the best solution for why you start a business? Because what Melissa did was she didn't work the coffee shop at first. She started these coffee shops up and raised up managers while she was still nursing, and she had
Hmm.
roles that she played, but she wasn't the main person behind the window, behind the bar as she was starting these things up. Like Ben said, she was a nurse during COVID. She started up this coffee business. It wasn't something that was always something where she was working. And she told us very plainly, she didn't take any money out of the business at first.
Hmm.
Like she left all the money in the business, which enabled her to fast grow because she was able to replicate herself over and over again because she wasn't extracting a large paycheck from this new baby business that she was starting. And I think that's something that a lot of business owners, I think honestly, that's why a lot of businesses fail in the first 5 years is because you're putting too much pressure on this little baby business. Ben, do you want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, I mean, we've said time and time again, how are you going to grow? How are you even going to have time to think about growing your business if you're behind the bar from 5 a.m. to noon every day? Your brain's shot by the end of the day, making drinks and talking to customers, and you're just putting all this energy into operating the business hour by hour. How are you going to think about location 2, 3, 4, 5 for the next, couple hours a day? If you're going to say, hey, I want to have a family life. I only want to work 9 to 10 hours a day. All right. So you're going to work on bar for 7 hours and then try and do business stuff for the next 2 hours. It just doesn't work. And the only way to be able to do that, like you're saying, is you can't be behind the bar. You can, like you said, but you're just giving yourself a job.
Yeah. I remember, Ben, my first business venture I did, and I actually talk about it on my first drive-through.coffee. If you're looking to start your first drive-through, I definitely check out that masterclass. It's free. My first drive-through.coffee. But when I started my first business, I remember I was working specialty retail. It was skateboard snowboard shop. And I'd been working for this family for some years. And I decided I'm going to buy this off the chain. It was a small family chain. I'm going to buy this off, divorce it, run it for myself, make my own money. And I remember talking to my attorney next door about it. It was back at a time before you could just go online and start your LLC. You still needed an attorney to start your LLC. And so I was talking to this guy next door, and he was starting the LLC for me. And I said, so here's the business model. I've been working at this many years. I understand all the financial flow. I understand how products work. I understand how sales works. I understand all the pieces that make this business. I'm really excited about it. What do you think? Is this a good idea? And he said something that I'll never forget. He said, I'd feel a whole lot better about it if you weren't working it. And I remember
Mhm.
it was so offensive. I was so offended. So I was like, bro, of course I'm going to work it. The whole reason I'm doing it is because I don't want to work for the man anymore. Right. So I'm going to go start my own business so I don't have to work for the man. I'm going to take all these skills that I had working for the man and I'm going to go start my own thing. But what I didn't realize was what he was telling me is the biggest danger to your new business is labor. We all know that, right? And if
Mhm.
your labor internally is like, I had a family of 4, right? Young kids, like that's a big monthly nut that you need that business to pay you. Versus if I go hire a kid that's 20, 21 to be my manager, she has a much smaller need for pay than a family of 4, you know? And so for me, it was,
Mhm.
what he was saying was be strategic about how you think about your business. So those of you out there that are thinking about starting a business, I think a lot of us come with that mindset of, I'm going to take my skills and I'm going to go do my own thing. I think absolutely that is what you should do. But I would suggest you not pay yourself from that business. You use all your skills to start this new business, find a manager that you can manage in a few hours a day rather than going to have to work 8, 9, 10 hours a day at this coffee shop behind the bar,
Mhm.
and treat it as truly a money making enterprise rather than something that you're going to extract a bunch of money, a big bite of the pie right out of the gates with your own payroll. Ben, what do you think of that?
And save your own sanity for one. Save your sanity. I mean, yeah, I think when people are starting to think about opening a business, you hit it right on the head. Most people do because they're like, I hate my job. I
Right.
hate working for this guy. I'm just gonna go do my own thing so I never have to answer to anybody ever again. I'll set my own hours. I'll sleep until 8 o'clock if I want to. It's, I'm gonna be my own boss, which is a great idea, but that's not the way it works. Your customer is your boss. So guess what,
Right.
buddy? You're waking up at 4:45 to go open the shop.
That's right.
So, I mean, you just swap one boss for the other. But if you can, instead of, saying that, you could say, hey, I'm creating an exit plan for myself. I've got a shitty job right now, but I'm going to open a coffee shop and I'm creating an exit plan in that I'm
Yep.
going to run this location for 5 years and I'm going to grow. And I'm going to grow it to the point where I don't have to work at all
Yep.
whatsoever. Like it's completely self-sustaining my current need, my current income, my future income. And I may not be able to quit this crappy job now, but I've got a plan for how I will in the future. And then as you grow, maybe, you actually, it turns out I'm going to work maybe 5 more years. That's that much more money I can reinvest back in the business because I'm not worried about my monthly paycheck. Don't just go out and walk out the door and say, screw you, dude, I'm out of here. I'm starting my own thing, because you're just trading your boss who you hate for customers who are inevitably going to get under your skin anyways.
Yeah, I think as much as you can realize that when you start something new, it's really a side hustle, right? This is like
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be something that you're going to open up month 1 and just be knocking down huge dollar bills, probably. I mean, it's probably going to be something that takes a little bit of time, right? And let's say it does start knocking down big dollar bills. Well, how much more profitable are you going to be when you've actually controlled labor by budgeting what you want it to sustain for the long haul, right? Like if you're,
Mm-hmm.
we tell people we want them to live somewhere between 18% and 22% labor of their total gross sales, right? So if that's the window we're shooting for, and you need to be bringing home 5K, 6K, 7K a month just for yourself, for your own personal household, like you're expecting a lot out of this little new start.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can instead drive your cost of labor down, and then you're actually giving just sweat equity, but not like 10 hours of sweat equity. You need to still make money. I would say go find another job, work another job where maybe it's not as stressful and you can expect some income to be coming in, and then allow your managers, which is what you want for this business in the long term. Anyway, you don't want to be locked up behind a bar for the next 30
Mm-hmm.
years. Like that's not sustainable. That's not growable. It's not scalable, right? And a lot of business owners, I think, have a real problem with location number 2 and 3 because they were the beast of burden at location number 1. And then they
Mm-hmm.
can't replicate themselves in location 2 or 3 as easily because they built on their own backs at the beginning. So I know that's unconventional. I know it's not exciting to hear, but we've got a tool that really helps you think about where should your time be going. It's called a delegate and elevate tool. And it's something that we use at the Collab team all the time. And it's, hey, where is your highest level of brilliance? Where are you going to get the best bang for your buck out of your time? And then kind of rotate down from things that you love to do to things that you like to do to things that you don't like to do to things that you hate to do based upon your skill set. And I give you a little video walking you through it on where should your time be going. And the way that you should be thinking about that is not just your time, but all of your people's time. Where do I get the best bang for the buck for what I pay? So if you want to check that out, that tool is at delegate.coffeeexpertsacademy.com. If you go and check it out there at delegate.coffeeexpertsacademy.com, it helps you think through where should your time be going and where am I going to get the best return on my investment of time and how can that best benefit the business? Because Melissa Cardenas, excellent example, like just
Knocked it out of the park.
think on it being her income source. And it allowed her to grow and grow and grow and grow to where she's kicking ass and growing at such a high rate of return because she conquered the choking point of owner wearing too many hats.
Very, very rarely, especially here in the Tri-Cities where we have so much coffee, very rarely do I drive around and continue to go, oh my God, there's another one. I've never been in it. I've never gotten coffee there. And I drive around and I go, oh, it's another one. God, there's another one. Oh, they're everywhere. Like that's pretty rare. And she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. So hats off, Melissa. We were impressed by you, sister. Very grateful to have you on the show. And Ben, as always, amazing to have you as a co-host here on Coffee Experts Club. Coffee Experts, thanks for joining us today. Make sure you check out delegate.coffeeexpertsacademy.com. I think that's going to really help you. And we'll see you back here next week for Coffee Experts Club. See you then.
Thanks, guys.